Welcome to Travel and Talk.
Content partner for this episode is Window Gallery.
Today, on this episode, we have a man who promotes Goa, who talks about Goa, which is beyond beaches. We have with us Varun, the founder of Soul Traveling. Varun, welcome to Travel and Talks.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Suraj, for having me.
You're welcome, Varun. And before we move on to what all Soul Traveling does, about the journey that you had, let's talk about you first. I mean, give us a little brief about yourself.
Okay, I think it's a very short brief. I think it is a very normal story that goes. I was born in the village of Benaulim in South Goa, very small, picturesque village. People know it as probably the village where the history of Goa started at a point of time, right? So grew up in that small village. Studied in Goa, did what every young kid at my age did my engineering, and then tried to decide what to do with life.
Right.
But completed my engineering from Verna in Goa and started with my work career in 2013. So I worked in Bangalore with an IT company, worked there for 2 years, went to Frankfurt in Germany, again a couple of years there. Work which was fun. I loved my work, but wanted to have something a little more, to that work. So decided to quit, come back to Goa. And in 2018, me and my childhood friend Kedar Borkar decided to try our hands with something new. Went crazy and started a travel company, which we started as Soul Traveling. And the whole idea was we wanted to change how tourism is perceived. Wanted to have people take a little more from their travels. Because a lot of times we realize that people used to take travel as something of a luxury, right? You do everything else, and when you have that saving, and you have those 10 days, you plan your travel. What I realized in Europe or elsewhere also is that people travel as a part of their lives.
Right.
You take small trips regularly, every month, every 2 months, learn from those trips, get exposed to different cultures, get exposed to different stories, and decided to have that as a part of my profession. And again, the whole idea was to also, slowly change the image of Goa, which we had a very unique image while growing up with. We wanted to share it with the world as well.
But where did that seed of actually starting Soul Traveling come from? I'm sure you must have. It cannot be like you woke up one morning and said, I'm going to start Soul Traveling. Where did that come from?
A lot of people ask me this question, and I imagine people might imagine this like a bathtub moment for Archimedes, where he just ran naked, eureka, eureka. Thankfully, none of that happened. Okay, it was a sort of gradual things that took place. One, of course, being in Germany, in Frankfurt, I got a chance to travel across Europe as well. Got a chance to get exposed to different cultures, different people, and understood the idea of travel better.
Right.
Secondly, what I also realized is how the storytelling and marketing works is a really big part of how people perceive destination. For example, if I asked you the most romantic destination in the world, the first one will be Paris, right? I've been to Paris, I've seen what it is, right? And I know that there are a lot of stories in and around India and Goa, which are very beautiful, but are longing to be projected.
Correct.
So we thought that we could create something like this in Goa, starting in Goa and probably in the rest of India and the world. And to make sure people actually think of travel, as from their stories as well. Secondly, another thing is we also realized people wanted to take a little bit more from their travel. People had done and dusted with their, sightseeing model. People wanted to actually go to a destination, explore, learn about the local
experiential vacation or holidays.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that's what we realized, there is a strong concept. And thirdly, you can take a Goan out of Goa, but you can't take Goa out of a Goan.
That's true.
So coming back home, doing something here and contributing to the community and the country at large is something that always motivated both of us. So me and Kedar also is an engineer, mechanical engineer, MBA from GIM. Again, quit his job in Bangalore, came back, and decided to make sure that Goa also is known for much more than beaches and the parties that are a part of.
Now, you actually just mentioned Goa. Tell me your honest opinion about Goa from a tourism perspective. Give us what you felt about it maybe a few years back and what's your take on it now.
Okay. So I think Goa is a very, very unique place to be in. Very, that potential that you see every day is crazy. What I feel is Goa has never really branded itself in the right way. Now, even today, when I go outside or when I was in other places in the world, people knew Goa. but they knew Goa as only a part of it. I think in Goa you have casinos, you have cheap alcohol, and people started coming to Goa for that, and Goa kind of rode on that wave, right?
Right.
We have never really taken out time to actually define that destination. And after a few years, what we are doing is we are competing with A leagues of tourism industry. So we want to compete with a Thailand, we want to compete with a Bangkok, right? But if the right storytelling, the right infrastructure is not there, Goa will never be able to do that, right? So,
So I mean, with this, I mean, will it be right to actually say that even being Goans and from the industry and the people around tried focusing on beaches because everybody else was focusing in a similar destination, we actually forgot we have much more? Is that what happened?
in a way, yes. See, don't get me wrong. I love my beaches. I love going
Yeah.
to parties and stuff like that. It's a really fun place to
Yes.
be in. But what I realized is we just rode on a wave that came in. People started getting attracted to Goa for a reason. We just decided to go with the flow.
Correct.
I think there are chances of actually curating something very cool in Goa. I don't mean only from terms of experiences, but what I strongly believe is the future of travel is curated in Goa, in India. And I don't mean only the final experience, but how a destination actually reacts with you or communicates with you. It happens in a lot of parts of the world. For example, in Japan,
Right.
in Thailand, or in Bali, right? When you enter a destination, there are certain ways of curated things that you can go.
Correct.
There are ways to communicate with it. There are ways how you are actually handled when you go into that destination. That lacks in India and Goa. And I feel apart from being a shortcoming, it is a great potential as well, where future of tourism can be defined with this.
So you think, are we too late to project Goa beyond beaches, or we still have time to do it, or what is it?
I think we have plenty of time, because initially for attracting people, maybe we needed the beach projection, I would say. But now that people are actually understanding Goa and want to know more, I think we are at the right time. However, if we completely move away, there can be a challenge as well. Like, for example, completely promoting Goa as a spiritual destination has its shortcomings, because you cannot compete with a Banaras and Goa, right? It becomes very tricky.
But that's what we did in past. We only focused on trying to make it a beach destination.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I would say it has worked in some ways, but now I think is the time, because people are, if you see the chatter around as well, people are done with that part of Goa.
Correct.
Also, at the same time, with great power comes great responsibility. So when we expose the hinterlands, it's very important that we do it in the right way. Because if we have to kind of project it as another Baga in Kalangut, it will happen like 10 years later, we'll be sitting here and you'll be talking,
Correct.
What is Goa beyond the beaches,
The hinterland,
beyond
yeah.
the beaches, right?
Correct.
So we don't want to get there. So again, I think
Correct.
if we do it in the right way, Goa has the potential, because it's again, I'm not just saying because I'm Goan, but because of the place in world history, right? The dynasties that it has ruled from different religions,
Right.
the exposure that it has got as the central port of kind of the area between Asia and Europe. When the Portuguese came in, it was kind of, one center point where Europe and Asia kind of communicated in a way.
Okay.
So with that melting pot of culture, the potential in Goa it is tremendous. How we do it, how we project it, how we kind of curate and kind of put it out to the world is what I think will define how Goa is perceived in the
So I think
upcoming.
it's important now to actually maintain the balance between the beaches and the hinterlands to going ahead. Is what you're
Absolutely.
saying.
Because see, if you say completely change Goa as a destination as well, a lot of people, when they think of India, right, when you foreigner travels to India, they might travel for different reasons.
Correct.
So they might travel to a Rajasthan for the culture part of it, for the temples, for Banaras, for spirituality, for Delhi, for the city and the bustle of it. Goa still has a thing because of the beaches. So if you completely change their destination, I don't know how it will be kind of taken by the foreign tourists. So it has to be a beach destination, but with so much more than just beaches.
Right.
So if you completely change that thought process, attracting foreign tourists might be a difficult task. But even with beaches, right? I mean, we think of beaches as a bad thing, but there is so much on the beaches as well that can be done in the right way, in the best possible way. And a lot of destination have done it.
Yeah.
So even with Bali or even with places like France, right, in Corsica, if you see, it's a beach destination, but there is so much curation that happens around it. If done in the right way, I think it has a great potential.
Varun, you being somebody, I'm sure, who've traveled every nook and corner of Goa and especially explored a lot of hidden gems. And please do tell us about your favorite 3 destinations in Goa, I mean, the places that you really love and why.
I'll tell you about the experiences as well, okay?
Sure,
Because
yes,
that's
please
something
go ahead.
that really captures.
Yes.
I mean, for me, the destination is very important with respect to the experience that they provide. So one thing that you must definitely kind of visit is, places like Tamdi Sulla and the wildlife sanctuaries of Goa. So in some places in Goa, in the Western Ghat, there is a phenomena called bioluminescence that happens, okay? Where you have some plants and some mushrooms and all radiating bioluminescence, right? And it is beautiful to see during the night. That happens.
So can you actually explain that to viewers? What exactly is that process? It's basically, what is it?
Yes, it's a phenomena where some of the varieties of living organisms actually emit a sort of radiation.
So they glow in the night.
They glow in the dark. Yes.
Okay.
So it is very interesting. It happens in Western Ghats of Goa. It happens in some parts in the waters as well.
Right.
And this is something that it is beautiful to witness, especially in that environment. It is nice. It is cool. So it happens near Tamdi Sulla in the Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary. And this is a trail that we do as well. I mean, if you can go there, again, it is a very curated experience because you should not take more than 10, 15 people at a time for that. Because again, you'll have to protect that area as well. So that is a beautiful space to be in Goa. So the wildlife sanctuaries and specifically these areas of Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary is something I would recommend everyone not to miss. Secondly, I feel that even in the wild, right? If you go to places like Kotigaon, if you have visited places like Kotigaon, inside wildlife sanctuaries as well, there are people who stay, okay? There are the tribal communities of Goa. So in Kotigaon, there is a village called Badde, okay?
Badde. Okay, Badde.
And there are tribal communities of Goa who actually kind of serve some of the best meals that you get. You don't get this commercially. So if you can actually visit these places, the communities can actually help you with simplest of meals. They don't even use something like sugar or maida in their cooking, right? Sugar, salt, maida, they try to stay away from that and cook. And the meals are amazing. So this is something that I don't think anyone traveling to Goa should miss. Also, the villages of Goa. I especially have a kind of a soft corner to my birth village, Benaulim, or also villages in the north like Moira and Aldona. These are two favorite villages.
It's getting commercial now.
It is, again, a lot of Goa is. And I feel that it's high time that we kind of work around these things because growing up, we had very different sense of how Goa was, right? So if you go to the villages of Moira, Aldona, these are very small, quaint villages where you see the church, you have the small river flowing there. So you can go for a walk around it, you can take a boat and go around, or you visit the local spaces. For example, in Moira, we have a experience where you can go to a bakery and make pav with a baker. And these bakers have been there for a long time, right? So going to a traditional wood-fired oven and actually making your own pav in the village of Moira is something that I really enjoy. So this quaint villages, Moira, Aldona, or in south we have Benaulim, we have Majorda. Very, very nice places to be and reminds us of, I think, our childhood.
The older days.
Yes.
Our younger days, let me say that.
You're very young, Suraj.
So, okay, now, talking about, promotion of Goa from beaches to, hinterlands and maintaining that balance. If you have to actually probably tell us, what are those urgent steps that are really needed to be taken, like yesterday, to, make that correction happen?
Right, that's a very big question, and I think again everyone will have their own point of view.
Yeah.
I feel one thing is actually reaching out to communities and making them involved in the tourism business, because what a lot of people believe is tourism is bad, and tourism is only restricted to a part of Goa, like the beach belt, right? When you're taking it to the hinterlands, you need to kind of get them involved with the benefits and maybe the precautions that need to be taken while tourism is done. For example, one of the things we do with our hosts is we make sure it is a structured economy. In the sense, we make sure TDS, GST, all these things are applicable. So we are taking it slow, but we are making sure that each host, now the hosts that we have are people from Kuragar, people who owns, Kuragar is a plantation, people who maybe own a house, people who own a bakery, how to make sure that they understand the concept of TDS and comes in the structured economy. So making sure that the communities understand the benefits and the precautions needed, I think is very important when you go to the hinterlands. Secondly, the infrastructure. Again, we have certain places like the petroglyphs in Rivona. Rivona has one of the oldest settlements in Goa with rock carvings on the banks of river.
Yeah.
But if you see the approach road, right, it is very bad. I mean, it is mud road. With if you want to take a tourist, the cab driver will first you'll have to have a verbal argument or a match with the cab driver to convince him to or her to go there, right?
Okay.
So the infrastructure to approach these locations.
Right.
Again, sometimes what happens is whenever we think of infrastructure, it goes on the other way. Suddenly the development happens in such a way that you don't want to go to that place anymore, right? So making sure it is done very sustainably, the approach roads, the kind of facilities, there's no washroom there. So again, making sure that the washrooms are created, because a lot of times they're in interiors, the hinterlands. And approach roads, something like hospitals, all these facilities come in. Third, I believe a big problem for Goa is the waste management. Today, it is still not as bad in tourism. People still have started going away, some of them. But if we don't address this immediately, in the next 3-4 years, it will be one of the major issues in tourism. People will actually move away because of the waste. And I mean, while coming here, we must have seen on the roads as well. It is becoming a big problem with waterfalls, with other places. And this is not only tourists, but the locals also doing it, right? So addressing this problem. And fourth, I think one that every Goan is talking about is the transportation problem.
System.
If by grace of God that is solved someday, because even today we have, we work in the hinterlands, right? A lot of times the question is, your experience, I have to pay, like, say there's a foreign tourist. It happened recently to us, and she was like, we have to pay $20 for your experience, $25. The cab is charging me $50. So, and you are a very famous tourist destination. How can your transport system not be sorted? So you're surprised by it. So if we can sort that, I think slowly people will be actually kind of, they will feel like entering the industry first, and then they will create new and new things coming onto it. So that curation part will happen when you provide this kind of support system. And then we kind of curate on top of it, right from, how people are received in Goa, to the infrastructure within, to the kind of experiences that they do, kind of transport that they have. If all this can be curated better, Goa, I think there's no limits to what Goa can do.
Without being diplomatic, Varun, can you tell us, do you really think that we are on the verge of correction, one, or we are verge on the losing out to be that favorite destination of tourists from this point?
I think we are somewhere in the middle. It's how I'm not being diplomatic. I'll tell you why also. Because I feel that, last 2 years, Goa tourism is talking about Goa beyond beaches.
Correct.
People like us who are into exponential or tourism have a seat on table now. Before that, when we started off, it was very difficult to explain to people what a walking tour is, or if this is a real job or not.
Correct.
Right? From there to here, I think the change has happened.
A lot of change.
But as we just discussed, I think there is a long way to go if we have to compete with a Bali or a Thailand. We can still compete with a Ranji level kind of a destination and still play that game. But I think Goa tourism always wants to pay the A level, like international games. You need to have the IPLs and all those kind of things, right?
Yes.
So if you have to play that game, then there is a huge way to go. I mean, we really need to be much, much better than we are doing right now. I think there are right people coming in the industry as well. People want to put in their hours. A lot of Goans are kind of staying back. A lot of people from all around India are kind of coming in and trying to make sure this works. So if that is done in the right way, Goa is the limit. Goa has no limit because I think it's a great place to work. Firstly, I think we really enjoy working in Goa, right? A lot of people from all over the Indian world enjoy working in this place. So I think we have strong potential. Again, we are somewhere in the middle. We have not lost the game yet. But if we don't do anything, we will definitely do it. Next 3-4 years is are the defining years for how Goa will do it. I strongly believe it can be a leader in experiential tourism space where the rest of the states of India and the world can actually then learn from how sustainable tourism can be developed, right? So we are working towards that, hopefully, and we hope to somehow get there. So yeah.
On that note, Varun, well, that was my last question. Next time, all you Goans and the locals, or even people traveling from other states or international destinations coming to Goa, do come to Goa, get in touch with Soul Traveling and understand, learn about Goa, which is beyond beaches. Trust me, Goa has a lot to offer. I think Soul Traveling is doing a fantastic job letting it, be, out there and, giving the limelight to these kind of locations which are beyond beaches. And trust me, it's worth it. Varun, thank you so much. And we're going to see you once again in Travel and Talks with somebody else at another destination. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Varun. Thank you.
Moga Suni.